right, coming to you live from San Francisco in Kubecon with Rob Hirschfeld. Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Barton. Thank you for asking.
Sure. Well, it's great to see you again. We used to work together. Now, since then, what have you been up to?
Oh, my goodness. Actually, it's funny. The same thing that I was doing at Dell, I've started off doing on my own, actually with a couple of co-founders of the Crowbar project. We left Dell basically to keep Crowbar alive. We felt like it was a really important story around physical provisioning and automation, and since then we've really carried it way further than we even expected to do when we started.
And now, you told me before this you've actually renamed it. It's not Crowbar anymore.
No, it's not. The version 3 effectively is Digital Rebar.
Nice.
Nice little homage to Crowbar, but it actually is a very meaningful name for what we look at it as doing, and it's really composable operation, so you can layer things together and you build a really nice firm infrastructure. And then one of the big innovations for this version is that we don't care what we provision on. So we were always heterogeneous from a hardware perspective, but now we'll do physical and virtual, mash it all together, right? Once you get the provisioning stuff sort of robust and flexible, you can go anywhere with it.
So what is the company's name? Is it also Digital Rebar, or have you got another one?
It's not. It's Rackn, or
Okay.
Rackn.
Oh, right. Release the Rackn. Yes.
Release
Okay.
the Rackn.
There you go. Now, you mentioned also that this works with a lot of the cool ecosystem players these days.
We do. So once we've built up this stable base, we call it ready state. Once we've gotten to a ready state on an infrastructure, then we can bring in things like Ceph or Kubernetes or Docker Swarm or Mesosphere or OpenStack. Really, the sky's the limit for that. You know, it's once you've built that stable base and gotten the networking right. Networking's always the trick. Once you've gotten those things working, then you can bring in these scale deployments and do some really interesting, repeatable production deployments around Kubernetes, Mesos, Docker, whatever you're looking for.
Cool. Well, so then just to conclude, sort of a twofer here. One, who are some of the people you're working with? I don't know if you can name names, and if not, sort of what industries or areas are they in, and then where you see yourself going over the next year.
Happy to. I can't name customer names, of course. We're definitely working in the Kubernetes ecosystem. We're working in Contrail and SDN. We've been doing a lot of work on the Mesos side and also on the Docker side. So some big projects, big names in the community with that. And then integrating them together. So for us, it's not just a matter of getting Kubernetes deployed. It's really building a high-quality SDN and storage-backed Kubernetes infrastructure that you could actually take into production on Metal, on cloud, wherever you need it to go. And then in the next year, we really see talking about composable operations and this, what we're calling addressing the fidelity gap. So the idea that you can work on a desktop system or a virtualized system, start really small, get developers cranking with a lot of turns and iterations, and then without changing the automation, take that all the way through to a production scale deployment. So the same work from start to scale. We think it's really compelling. It saves people a lot of time. It helps get the developers and the operations and the test teams all talking the same language, and really addresses what we saw are some of the deployment hassles around like the OpenStack community, where deployment's been all over the map. We really want to get ahead of it with containers, and that's what I think we're going to be doing this next year.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you at a future conference and interviewing you again.
I'm looking forward to talking to you. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Rob.